One of the hottest items to sell on eBay, Amazon, and other platforms per profit, not just during 2023 fourth quarter, but into 2024 and beyond, is video games and video game systems. And we're going to find out which ones are good and which ones you should avoid in this video. Let's check it out. Yeah, everybody, welcome in and continuing my video series all November 2023 long on the best items to resell on eBay and other platforms for profit. Today we're going to cover video games and video game consoles. I used to sell thousands of video games a month, and I still do sell some of them. I have changed over to other categories, but video games are always at the top of one of my loves of best things to sell. I love video games as a person, as a personal usage and playing, and I love reselling them, and they sell fast and they sell for great profits. So what better way to cover them than in a video today? I'm going to take you to my screen. I'm going to show you the systems, the videos, the consoles, the vintage, the new age, the games that sell, the games that don't sell, and how you can price check them on eBay. Let's go over it without wasting any more time and show you how to make money on video games and video game systems while you're out at yard sales, garage sales, thrift stores, estate sales, and anywhere else you source from. Let's check them out right now, everyone. I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, ProEcommercelister, your one-stop shop for listing services. Simply take photos of your inventory, upload them into our system in our mobile app or website, and we do the rest. Titles, descriptions, conditions, item specifics, return times, handling times, and shipping policies. You simply price your item and make them live on the platform. Contact ProEcommercelister below at www.proecommercelister.com or email us at proecommercelister@gmail.com for full instructions and pricing. And thank ProEcommercelister for being a sponsor of the Rockstarflipper YouTube channel. All right, so I'm back on my screen here, and I'm going to cover 15 of the best video games and types of video games you can sell in this video. We'll do video game systems in a different video. So first is Final Fantasy games. One of my favorite games in the world. They're actually remaking one of the best Final Fantasy VIIs for PlayStation 5. They remade Part 1. Part 2 is due out in February. But Final Fantasy dates all the way back to the originals, 1, 2, and 3. You can see 3 here for the Super Nintendo. It's that old, from 1994. I believe Final Fantasy 1 came out in late 91 or early 92. So it is that old of a game. It is definitely, every bit of 30 plus years old. So Final Fantasy, the original Super Nintendos from the first couple, those games can be worth 50, 60, 70 bucks. Somebody here has the Nintendo Switch, brand new remade Switch remaster collection. They got 146. This was all the originals 1 through 6 that they remade on the Nintendo Switch. Here is the Final Fantasy VII remake I just mentioned, and that is still like a $30, $40 game pretty easily. It was $70 when it came out, up to $100. So Final Fantasy, again, has, they're all the way up to Final Fantasy 16, so there's lots of different ones, all the newer ones for PlayStations, all the old ones back to like the Super Nintendo. Final Fantasy VII was for PlayStation 1, so you can tell how old that one is. They have a Game Boy Advance versions, all different ones, but make sure, as with every video game in this video, make sure you look up the values and for the correct system that you are looking for. Final Fantasy was even on the PSP circa 2008. I used to resell these on Amazon, and they can still fetch $17 to $20. So anytime you see a Final Fantasy game at like a yard sale, garage sale, or somewhere, and it's a couple of bucks, it's almost always worth picking up. Something like this PS2 Final Fantasy 12, which was kind of a flop of a game, that's going to be like really your cheapest $5, $6 game, but there aren't many of these that go for that much. I would say maybe like the Type O is probably like a $10 game, but even the original Final Fantasy VII for 1997 PS1 generally fetches between $18 and $20, so pretty safe to pay a couple of bucks for almost any one of these games. So keep an eye out. Final Fantasy games, really, really hot. Always a popular title and sells pretty well. Should have put this number 1, but number 2 is the obvious Pokemon video games. They just kill it. Pokemon games are one of the best-selling video games in the history of video games. Everything from the new Nintendo Switches, which I own a couple of, all the way back to things like Pokemon Coliseum for GameCube. This is like probably circa early 2000s. You've got a couple of different games for the Pokemon Switch. There were 2 different series that came out. You had like Diamond and Pearl. You had Sword. You also had the Pokemon Legends, which was this one. This one just sold for $40 used. You have the Nintendo DS and 3DS games, like the black version. You have all the way back to Game Boy Advance, which is 2003, of the blues, the sapphires, you have the rubies, the emeralds, These games can be worth over 50 easy, upwards of 80. Now, the problem with these, they're heavily faked, so do make sure you learn how to tell what the fake Game Boy Advance and Game Boy games are. Not going to go over that here because it's kind of detailed. It could be a video all in itself, but that's why they're worth 60, 70 bucks if you can get the authentic ones. Again, we have the Switch games. They can fetch in the 30s and 40s. We have all the way back to the 3DS games, another $26 one. Another Switch one, and you could just go on and on with these forever. Here's the red version from Game Boy 1999. This is a $45, $50 game. You have the DS games, which can go over 100 in some cases, mostly probably like 75, 80, but this one sold for 100. That's the white version too. Again, here's our Emerald version. Don't know why this one went for 185. That's crazy. Generally, they're over 100, but here's a Ruby 80. And on and on and on. So Pokemon is just one of those games all the way back to like N64. I don't see any listed here. I'd have to search for it. Oh, here you go. Pokemon Stadium, 52 from Canada. Pokemon Snap even got $26 from, looks like Canada. So all these games as far back as you can imagine. Number 3, Zelda, one of my other favorite games. So Zelda, not going to fetch huge money. They sell really fast. Any Zelda game sells fast, but there are a few that are worth really good money. So the original Zelda 2, Adventures of Link, it's the gold cartridge a lot of people recognize. That's generally between $25 and $30. There's an older one, of course, the original Zelda, the first edition one, that's worth even more. Nintendo Switch ones, there's probably 4 or 5 Zelda games out now. Skyward Sword and some other ones. I own 2 of them. I own Skyward Sword. This one is Tears of the Kingdom, which is a newer one, used cartridge only or game only, $44. Pretty good. Here is the Skyward Sword for the Wii. So Wii games still do really well. Link's Awakening for Switch. That's the other one, $37. Here's Game Boy Advance. This was the 4 Swords, Link to the Past, still a $28, $29 game. So you guys can see even back to like the Wii games. This Twilight Princess didn't do as well, so I'm not surprised to see it selling for $15, $16. But generally, most of them are at least a $15 game. Here's Tears of the Kingdom as well, almost $50. Here's the 4 Swords Adventure for GameCube. This one's worth quite a bit of money. You will definitely get $40 to $50 for that one. The Super NES 92 version, $36, $37. Try to keep up on all these prices of these games. It's harder as more and more come out. But the Game Boy Advance ones are always over $60. This one is like the cap. This is Legend of Zelda. It's 2005, and I think it's pronounced the Minish Cap or Minish Cap. That one always does well. GameCube Twilight Princess. This one went really high. I don't expect it to go that high, but you guys can see kind of the pricing range, even back to the original Game Boy game of 93, right? This one went for $32.95. So always look for Zelda. Mario Kart games. Now, there's tons of different Mario games, but Mario Karts are always consistent. There's about 5 or 6 of them. You've got the original Mario Kart Wii. You've got Mario Kart from 1992 Super Nintendo. Again, close to a $30 game. A lot of these are going to be in those $25, $35 ranges. Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U. I own this one. That one usually goes a little cheaper. Generally 15 to 20 is normal for the Mario Kart 8. Sometimes it can go a little higher. Mario Kart Double Dash is the kind of the Grail one for Nintendo GameCube of 03. That one generally 75 plus. This one went for 93 all in. Pretty good. Mario Kart 7 for the 3DS is one of the cheaper ones. That one's usually a $15 to $20 game. And Mario Kart Deluxe 8 for the Switch, which I own, is almost always a $35, $40 game. We have the Super Nintendo one. You guys kind of get the idea here where most of them are over $20, $30. Double Dash is the most expensive one, almost always. And then your mid-range ones like your Mario Kart Wii, your Mario Kart 8, all those, almost always $25, $30. So there you go. Then we'll talk about the Mario video games in general. There are so many Mario games. Mario Party, Super Mario World, Mario 64, Mario Golf, 1,001 Mario games. There are a lot of them. Super Mario Brothers 1 for NES that just don't have any value. Even Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3, you know, the 1990, 89, 90 games, they're only worth about $15 or $20. They will sell almost instantly, right? They will sell so fast. It's crazy. As soon as you put them up, if you price them right, they'll sell. But there are a lot that do not have a lot of value. So don't go spending $10, $15 on them thinking you're going to flip them and you're not going to make any money. Make sure you look it up. The GameCube games, Mario Parties, are usually worth really good money. The Super Mario Brothers for Wii U, typically decent, 20, 25 bucks. The Super Mario Makers are pretty good. But here's a good example. Super Mario Brother Duck Hunt game, $8.99 for the original NES. 10 bucks is really it for those games. So you have to be careful. You have to look them up. But just know that Mario games are going to sell really, really fast. Super Smash Brothers, this is a classic, one of the favorites. You know, Mario Brothers and Zelda and Link and all these characters combined in one. They do really good. Again, for some reason, the early 2000 GameCube 01, 02, 03 games really sell well. The ones for Nintendo Switch and the Wii U, not quite as well, but the Switch will do great because it's newer. The Wii U, generally not amazing, but they sell instantly. I'm surprised at this one only being like $11 for the Super Smash Brothers. One of my favorite games, have this one out in the bonus room right now. We play it once in a while. But the Switch one's really great. Now the Wii Super Smash Brothers Brawl, that one will do pretty well. Usually get over 20 for that one. It's circa 2008. So you can look for Super Smash Brothers. Ultimate is good. Again, here's a GameCube one, $56. Always look for those GameCube ones. The ones for 3DS do not sell at all, like $7-8, and they're kind of slow. I've always had a problem with them. Some people sell them fast, but again, another Switch one. Here's the Super Smash Brothers Melee for GameCube 01. This one shipped from Canada, and it was like $70, so pretty good. Here's the Switch 2018, again, $40, so always look for those. The Wii Brawl is okay, but the Wii Regular is not so great. And that's pretty much the story on Super Smash Brothers. This one is Xbox 360. It is, and PlayStation 3, either one. NCAA Football 14, so the year 2014. And the reason that this one is so expensive, you would never expect a sports game to sell for more than a few dollars. Generally, once they're a year old, they're not worth much anymore because the next year's game is out. This was the last year that the NCAA football came out with a game on Microsoft Xbox 360, PlayStation 3. So you will see them for those two. Now, they're generally worth at least 80 or 90. Most of them will fetch over 100 if they're in the box with all the stuff. You can see a few when a little cheaper, but they should almost always get over 80 to 90 at the lowest, and they should, a lot of them get over $100. So you see 92, 100, 85, 99. So right in that 80 to 100 range, 85, 95 is pretty normal. Now, the reason that this is so significant is people couldn't buy NCAA football 2015. They just didn't have one. It's been the better part of 8-9 years since they made this. And with the new contracts that college players are going to be able to make money off of their likenesses, there's talk of there being a new NCAA football, which would probably crash the price of this. So keep an eye on it. It may, because of collectivity, still be worth quite a bit of money. It could be worth this much money for a while. Who knows? But right now, if you see this, it is bank. They sell all the time, all day long. People love it. And for some reason, they're willing to pay for it. So there you go. NCAA 14 on Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. Another one of my series that's really one of my favorite games is Resident Evil games. A lot of these are not going to be worth a ton of money, but I put them here because they do sell instantly. They're very cult-like, known, well-loved games, and some of them do have some value. Obviously, the old ones are value. The other thing you can do is lot them up. You see this guy got 150 for a lot of 4. These games are probably, some of them are 10, 15, 20 buck games. 150, you're talking about $37.50 a game. Overpriced, but they lotted them and somebody got to get all of them all at once. So that's why they got that much. The Nintendo Wii U game, Resident Evil Revelations, does decently well. The N64 game for Resident Evil 2 and the GameCube game does, again, GameCube games, they always do really well. The Resident Evil 2 for N64 is generally a $30 game. The GameCube one is twice that or more. So when you scroll down, you'll see code Resident Evil, code Veronica X. This one can be a $15, $20 game. You got Biohazard. This is a Japan Sega Saturn game. I've only seen this one a few times. It's not overly expensive, but it's rare. So 30, 40 bucks probably normal on that one. And then people selling, the PS4s, the DSs. This Deadly Silence game is rare as well. I've heard that this one sells a lot. Never seen it, never sold it. So no experience with this one, but it looks like, from this one, they sold it for a lot. So you can scroll down and see all the prices on these, but they do sell very, very quickly. Dragon Ball Z games, one of the most popular game series, TV anime series in the history of everything. These are generally good bets to sell really, really quickly, which is what I'm trying to give you guys, is fast sell-through rates. But $15, $20, $25 for the majority of them. There are a few. This Dragon Ball Z Burst Limit, I used to sell these a lot. This was sealed, so they got $68. But on the used market, this game's probably like a $25, $30 game. So a general rule of thumb for most Dragon Ball games, even GameCube ones, you can see 15. This PS4 one sold for 10 and change. Even the Dragon Ball Z 3DS 2015 game, 25. Most of these are going to be $15 to $20 games, 25 on the high end. You're not going to find a ton of high dollar ones. There are a few. The PSP game, a little harder to find, so I'm not surprised about a $50 one on that one. Somebody bundled 3 together for $55. So you're talking about like $18 a piece would be like what, $54. So yeah, I mean, you can see that price is $15 to $20. Now, this Dragon Ball Z Budokai HD collection is a collection of a couple of games. So 42, probably right about that one. But and then you can see they lotted up some games here and only got 44 for 5 of them. So it's like $9 a piece, $9 a piece. There are a few that go a little higher. The Budokai 3 is a little bit more rare, a little harder to find. This one was black label, complete in box, so 34. Generally, this is about a $25, $30 game. So not big money on Dragon Ball Z, but very, very, very fast sellers. One of the best games of all time, Silent Hill and Silent Hill 2. The original 2001 PlayStation 2 games for Silent Hill 2 is a $100 game. The Silent Hill 1, probably not quite as much, but high. We'll see in a second. The Silent Hill bundle, $189. Silent Hill Origins, again, PS2 complete, again, $100+ game, $120. Silent Hill 4, The Room, again, you're going to get $100+ for these. Here's Silent Hill 2 for or Silent Hill 3, excuse me, for PS2, $85. Not surprised. Here it is again, $103. You see the trends. All the Silent Hills except these PSP Origins are about a $40 game. Don't count the PSP ones. All the PS2 games over $100, generally speaking. Silent Hill 4, The Room, a little less. As we scroll down, we have another one, $133, $90, $129. Here's an original, $148, $152. So sometimes the Silent Hill ones can go for a little more. Generally, I see them in the $120s, $110s. But yeah, Silent Hill 4, The Room, again, $60. This is going to be your cheapest one. The 4 just didn't do as well. I don't know why, but it did. I actually liked Silent Hill 4, The Room, personally. Silent Hill 3 was really good. I think Silent Hill 2 is by far the best. The original Silent Hill was good, but Silent Hill, you know, some people love 3. I think 3 was probably my second. I would say second, third, first, and fourth. I love the fourth room, The Room, but I like the other ones better still. So somebody sealed got $400 for one. The Xbox 360 collection of the Silent Hill collection is on 360 is not worth a ton. $30, $40 about right. But always look for the PS2 ones. So there you go. Kingdom Hearts, another one of my favorites. Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3. There's also the 358 2 Days. There's the remixes. Ton of these. Huge sellers. Disney's amazing game. RPG off the chains. It sells out as fast as you can list them, like the rest of them. Generally speaking, these are $20, $25 games. You will find them cheaper. The original Kingdom Hearts, the very first one, it's a 2002 PlayStation 2, not worth more than $10. Be careful on that one. That one is not great. But the story so far, like the PS4, this one's a $21 game. The HD 2.5 mix, I'm really surprised to see these under $9. Generally, I get 15 to 20 for these. Kingdom Hearts 1.5 remix, same story, an $8 one, not really sure why. The Recoded on DS generally does good, 2025. Be careful buying these. Here's Kingdom Hearts 3 for PlayStation 4 at $9.99, brand new. Again, shocked to see that at $10, brand new. 10 used maybe, but 15, 20, you know? I don't know. The lots do really well, but again, these two only sold for $9 and change, $9.50 a piece, $9.99. 8, they're going to sell instantly fast, but be careful of these 2.5 remixes, these 1.5 remixes. The story so far for PS4, definitely a solid $18, $20, $22, up to $25. But it looks like, you know, the ones for PS4 and PS3 just have really dove in price since the last time I've sold one. Here's a 1.5 remix that had the limited edition art book, and they sold it for $16. So these ones will sell fast, but you have to be really careful of their value. So definitely look it up before you check on those. Dragon Warrior. This is a great game. It's original in 1989, NES. It's probably a $15 game, $20 game, depending on what you have with it. But Dragon Warrior came out with second and third editions, and here it is. Here's the Game Boy Color one, $104. Here's Dragon Warrior 3 for the NES. Look, Dragon Warrior 1, $10, $15 game. Dragon Warrior 3, $100 game. Dragon Warrior 4, $100 game. Dragon Warrior Monsters 2 on the Game Boy Color, $45 game. You just keep going and going and going. Here's the original one. Again, $13, like I said. Scroll down, $95 for the third one. So careful on Dragon Warrior on the first one, but if it's 2, 3, or 4, you're in business. Castlevania, everybody loves Castlevania. A lot of their games, including the Nintendo Game Boy Advance games, shot up in prices. The DS games, all the little handheld games do really well. The original Symphony of the Night, it's a 97 PS1 game, came out during the Final Fantasy VII era. That game fetches easily $75. I'm surprised this wasn't higher, honestly. This one's hard to find. Your NES games like Dracula's Curse, Simon's Quest, all those. Dracula's Curse, I like to think this is like a $30 game. I don't see that a lot, but there you go. And then the Simon's Quest is always worth a little bit less. It wasn't as good. This game was actually terrible. Not a fan of it. $19. And the original 87 Castlevania, here you go again, 30. Pretty high on that one. Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, again, cheaper. And if you can scroll down, Nintendo Switch, this one, ignore this one. It's the Ultimate Edition Anniversary Collection. Hard to find, and it was like a promo thing. But here is, again, Nintendo Switch Anniversary Edition. The Sega Genesis Bloodlines. This one was a really cool game, and this one is complete new other, so they got 170. Used probably about half that, but fair enough. So here again, Symphony of the Night, 175. Outrageously high, but I mean, there you go. People paying for that PS1 nostalgia. The Curse of Darkness, Xbox 360, or regular Xbox, I'm sorry. I'm not a lot of familiarized with that one. $35 sounds right. Never sold it. So then we have the PS2 versions, which were always cheaper than the original PS1 versions, clearly. Castlevania 64 always does good, $30-40, and it sells fast. All these will sell fast. Everything I'm giving you sells fast today. Kirby games, Kirby's Dream Land, Kirby's World, Kirby, all these things do well. We love Kirby. Kirby's one of my favorite Super Smash Bros. Characters. Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy, you know, $20 game easily. Kirby's Epic Yarn on Wii even still fetches 15 to 20. Kirby Star Allies on the Switch, you know, brand new, yeah, $50. Used probably 25, 30. There's Kirby's Avalanche. Never sold that one. $16 on the Super Nintendo. And the Ultra DS, Kirby Superstar Ultra, is $20. So a lot of these games, $20, $30, some of them up to $40. But keep an eye on Kirby. Kirby, awesome. Also, Donkey Kong and Luigi, other good ones. Gonna wrap it up, number 15, with anime games. So Naruto, we saw what Dragon Ball Z does. There are a lot of games that are gonna have a lot of Japanese anime. You're not even gonna know the names of them, but you're just gonna see it and you're gonna recognize it and look it up or Google Lens it, and you're gonna see high dollar prices on a lot of them. Tales of the Heart, like of Hearts. This is a really good DS game from Japan. It's $16, not a lot, but these things sell so fast. It's ridiculous. J-Star's Victory VS versus Sony PS4. This one's always done well. As we scroll down, I just searched for anime. You're going to look and find stuff like Lunar 2, Eternal Blue. This is a soundtrack disc only for that Lunar 2. $25, right? Pretty cool. Here's one called Matto Anomalies. It's a Sony PS5 game, $23. Here's a Virtual Fighter for the Game Gear, $15. When you search these anime games, Ultimate Ninja, Naruto Ultimate Ninja, $14 all in. Here's a Sega Saturn Lot of 2. Here's Royal Slayers. Never heard of half of these, but Armored Warrior, Iris Irige Anime. This says brand new PC, $125. There's a ton of games that are just like, never heard of them, but PC Windows game, $95. If you see anything with Japanese anime, look it up, figure out what it's worth, because it's probably got some value to it, and you'll never know until you check it out. One Piece World Seeker. I mean, that looks kind of Japanese anime. Let's see what else we got. Yokai Watch 2 Fleshy Souls. I mean, this one sold for $20 on the Nintendo 2DS and 3DS. So lots of things to look for when you're looking at anime. I mean, here's Yokai Watch 2 Psychic Specters for the Nintendo 3DS, $178. Good grief. Wild Arms Alter Code F for PS2, anime with thing, $160. You guys get the idea. Japanese anime. So that's number 15 on the list. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. I know the videos are a little bit longer, but hopefully they're helping to give you some ideas and some items to look for at those garage sales, yard sales, and thrift stores. And as always, enjoy the rest of your weekend when I'm posting this on Sunday. Make sure you check out my description box for all the helpful links, including my listing service, which I made $1.11 for the entire weekend. Go grab your listings if you ever wanted to try ProEcommerce Lister out. It's linked below. No discount code needed. Just click on the website, buy your listings. They never expire, and we will get you set up. Thank you so much, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.